So just let me know when you've hit that record button.
It's in, pro- it's in progress.
Oh, okay. So, good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Education Youth Committee meeting for November 9th, 2022. Um, just can't believe that we're coming on to the end of another year already. So let's kick this off. I am calling the meeting to order at 7:41 p.m. Um, my name is Gail Granderson. I am the chair of the Education and Youth Committee. I want to welcome everyone who took the time out to be on tonight. Welcome, welcome. Um, I hope everything's going well with everyone. We don't have a lot of members on. It's not quorum, but we don't have any minutes. And I'll explain in a few minutes. But we also don't have anything that we need to vote on or to approve. So, first, I want to start off with our norms where we share this space. There's equity in our voices. So we're going to step up and step back. I don't know it all. No one knows it all, but together we know a lot. Show up and participate. You know, use your effort to be your best self. Stories stay, lessons leave. And let's just all be respectful of everyone's opinion. And we want to be always mindful of each other's time. My report I'm going to give, I'm going to move into the report. It's going to be pretty basic. Um, so a couple of things happening. Miss Lyons is out on leave, on medical leave. Indefinite, is that the correct word I should use, Miss Frazier, or
Yeah,
um
that's correct. We have no return date as of today.
right. So indefinite. So um we're working with Miss Frazier, and then there are just some things that I am going to step up to do because being with Miss Lyons out, it means that Miss Frazier has to assist with all of the other committee meetings that she was under her portfolio, and also the meetings that Miss Frazier has, like the board and the executive, and I think other few committees because we still have not hired an ADM, but good news, we are in the process of interviewing some really great candidates. So I'm hoping that, help will be coming in a very short period to help Miss Frazier move this process along and also move the board's work forward. Before I get any deeper into it, Mr. Tate has lost a few family members within a short period of time, within 2 months. I got an email from him, and I just want to share that with the committee and to say here again, although I emailed him, that my condolences to him and his family on the loss of his wife family members. It's not something that's very easy, to deal with losing family members in such rapid succession. I think it's three of them since September. So he has been away. But once again, my condolences to Mr. Tate and his family. Um, the move to the new location is still on, wouldn't be till sometime next year. So the office still, we're still Miss Frazier. I would say Miss Frazier is still packing up. Still some things that need to be done. And I'm gonna ask here if you guys have any time, being that Miss Frazier is the only person in the office because Miss Barton is also out. On reasonable accommodation indefinitely. So Miss Frazier is the only person in the office. So if at any time you guys have some free time, there's some things that still need to be done, please feel free, to reach out to her to see which way you can assist her. Or even if it's transcribing some minutes, because I think that's one of the biggest issues we have is with the minutes. So any way that you can help, I'm sure she'll be appreciative and grateful for your assist. So that is kind of the end of my report. Any questions? Okay, so what I should have done first, before I did my report, I'm going to ask everyone to please introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Mr. Lewis. And while you're introducing yourself, I want you to give me one word of how you've been feeling for the day. One word that describes how you felt for the day. So I'm giving it over to you, Mr. Lewis.
Good night, everybody. Austin Lewis, board member, committee member. I'm tired.
Yeah, I can
That's
leave.
basically it.
That's it. Thank you, Miss McCain Brown. Could you please introduce yourself and one word of how you are feeling today?
Good evening, everyone. Monica McCain Brown, committee member, and I feel relaxed.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Barrington,
I'm okay.
that's your word for today?
Yes.
How you-
I'm not 100%, so I'm saying I'm okay.
You're okay. All right.
Yeah.
We can live with that. Next is Miss Anne. Can you please introduce yourself and just give us one word of how you're feeling for today?
Yes, good night, everyone. My name is Ann Hudson. My word is upbeat. I'm feeling upbeat.
All
And
right.
I'll tell you why. A couple
Yeah.
of weeks ago, I saw something on the news where I didn't get the exact details, but I saw that they had this, what is it, fair or extravagance or something at the Barclays Center, and it was for students to empower students to stay in school and to try to graduate. And I was thinking that, you know, if we had something like that coming out of the education committee, maybe we could call it something else and not necessarily have it at the venue of the Barclays Center, maybe in one of the parks. And, you know, I think that whenever we plan it for, right? I think having those things to empower students and to keep them focused and motivated would go a far way in making them successful in school, which is what part of the mandate or the focus of the education committee should be.
Thank you. We're going to get further into the weeds about doing certain things that we think that are beneficial to this committee. I'm going to go to Miss Graham.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Graham, are you there?
Yes, good night, everybody.
Yes, your name, introduce
I am
yourself,
Miss
and one word
Graham.
how you're feeling today.
Overwhelmed.
Oh, okay.
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. So I'm just going to go, of course, you know, I've introduced myself. I'm Gail Grandison. And the way I was feeling today was a bit exhausting. But yeah. So, you know, we're feeling in this space in different ways. And let's hope that, you know, what we can accomplish here tonight, some productivity, will kind of uplift and level us up a bit. So, next item on is, so I'm going to go back to planning for the year because this is something that's really important. So I'm going to start first with the spelling bee, with the events that we have, that we talked about for the past couple of months and what we want to have come up. So it's the spelling bee, and we talked about having it in February when the kids are on winter recess. That way, because we want to have an equitable forum and also an equitable committee that represents everyone in our community. right? So we talked because that week, I think it's the third week in February, the kids are out on winter recess, that we can have the spelling bee. It will be open to everyone. And I have asked Ms. Frazier to please look into if we can secure downstate. And she is working on that at the moment. I know Ms. Frazier said they had come back to her and asked her for some more information. And anything that you need, Ms. Frazier, if I need to put anything in writing to send to them, please let me know. And I want to get a flyer out. I want to do a save the date, and I also want to have that conversation with our superintendents and school personnel. I want to do this before Thanksgiving, so that this information is out there and we can market it in a timely manner. So, with the spelling bee, we're going to, for this year, for the first time, include high school. And we are going to use the official name that maybe a year or two ago that we talked about, of changing it officially to Community Board 17, the Orlando McInnes Spelling Bee. So I want to have that as a little celebration that we're officially giving it that name, and getting it done in February. So that's it for the spelling bee. The other item, one of the other items, is going to be the essay writing, but as I said, that's not going to be till maybe April, and I am going to have Officer Barry ask her to join our meeting next month so we can talk some more about that and expand on the community-wide and the partnership with the 6-7 Explorers team around that. So now I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Lewis because this is his baby. I had a really great conversation with Mr. Lewis around the CTE forum, and we talked in depth about this and what it should look like, and who should be there. But I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Lewis to fill in the committee on what we have so far. Now, what I'm hoping is that we can get some committee input into the CTE forum, some positive feedback, how to make this better. Are we going in the right direction? But I want to hear what you guys think. So, Mr. Lewis, I'm going to ask you to give that report as the chair of that subcommittee, please.
Good night, everybody. So, what we are looking to do with this forum, it's going to be basically an introduction to what CTE is and how you could further yourself in a career in CTE. The age groups we are looking for is from, I think, 14 to 40. And the reason for that being, there's a lot of folks that transition in between the careers. There's a lot of young people that graduate school. And when they graduate, because there's this thing with No Child Left Behind, most of the young people, even if they don't complete, they stay in school maybe up to the age of 21 until they finally completely just put them out of the school system. So for those people that are what I could consider those people that don't want to take the career path of going back to college, and we understand the college debt, we understand all of these things, we understand that college in of itself does not create a career for you unless it's a specialized field, right? And even with that, you need to have experience, you need to have either internships or whatever that could that have a value towards an employer. For CTE, for the most part, there are different programs. Like, for example, for myself, I came through the construction skills program, which is Edward J. Malloy. At 18 years old, I got into Local 3 union, which is the electrical union, IBW, which is the hardest union to get into. The other union that is harder than mine to get into is 638, which is the steam fitters who do pipe fitting and so forth and sprinkler systems, because their local is so small. But Local 3 has over 30,000 members. So when I got in at 18 years old, the summertime, I did a pre-apprenticeship program. As a matter of fact, before that summer, and then by September, when I graduated in June, I got into Local 3. Normally, it takes somebody between the time of 7 to 10 years to get an application and get inside. I was inside by the September after I graduated in 2004. So I want to show people that they have different avenues. You know, this is the most important thing, to understand the different avenues that you have and being knowledgeable that construction is not just a physical field where you have to climb a ladder and install something. You could be a project manager. You could be site safety. You could be an estimator. You could be an architect. You could be a draftsperson. There's many different things. In construction also, you could be a construction lawyer. It all just depends on how you want to apply yourself and who is going to pay for that schooling, right? So again, the forum that's coming up, we're going to have it in May. I believe it's May 9th or May 10th. Ms. Granderson?
I'm looking. Give me 1 second. May 10th.
May 10th, which is a Wednesday, and we're looking to have it on the same night as our educational meeting, and we're looking to have it hosted at downstate also. And the reason for that being is that, again, sometimes the weekends are difficult depending on religious observance, depending on how people are working. So Wednesday evening, and for the most part, we're going to start that program a little bit earlier, about 5 p.m. and go for about an hour and a half. I plan to invite about 5 panelists, and I'll be hosting. And each of these panelists have a specific mastery, and it's important to get all the different perspectives. So, you know, I'm bringing a gentleman who has a training course for building maintenance. He also provides courses for all of the FDNY certifications of fitness that helps to maintain these buildings. He also teaches HVAC, which is, you know, heating, ventilation, and cooling. And that's one avenue. I'm also gonna invite the land use chair, who is an electrician also just like myself. Also, he's a master electrician just like myself. And he graduated, me and him graduated 19 and 20 in terms of 320 students from Transitech High School. So he could give his experience also. I'm bringing another gentleman who is actually the liaison between the Department of Education and the pre-apprenticeship programs or CT guidance programs for young people and high school graduates to go to the next level in the trades. I'm also inviting a woman by the name of Ms. Beltran, who is actually the director of construction skills, which is now Edward J. Malloy, which actually partners with 4 other organizations that bring people into the trades. New is non-traditional education for women. P2A is actually the pre-apprenticeship program to transfer people who are coming out of being incarcerated back into community back into a viable career, so that they don't have to go back to whatever they did to get themselves in trouble in the first place. There is also helmets to hard hats, which is also another transitional pre-apprenticeship for people that come out of the military armed services, get an opportunity to get in the trades. So I'm trying to hit all walks of life in this forum. And once we do that, we'll have information to be shared. I'm looking for it to be a hybrid meeting. So we will have to have somebody manning for questions from the audience who are on the Zoom, as well as folks who are in the audience too, and we'll be sharing enough information as to how people will have access to this. Now, why this is important? Because in the third quarter of 2023, the Shirley Chisholm Recreational Center is going to be sending out RFPs for construction. And the preparation is to get people in the union trades, because that job in particular has a project labor agreement, which is the agreement with the building construction trades in New York City. So we want people to at least get ready and prepared for these pre-apprenticeship programs, so that once the construction starts, which might be in, let's say, January of 2024, if it doesn't start before, people are prepared with the channels they could get to get into a union apprenticeship. All right. And then from there, they have opportunities. Now, mind you, that project is $130 million. It's going to be one of the largest projects in the East Flatbush area for maybe a very long time in terms of public works. And it's important for our folks to be on the forefront, right? I myself, I will be speaking about being an electrical contractor, which I am. Okay, so these are the things that I want people to understand. There is many different ways of being a part of the construction field. You just have to pick your niche, and two, you have to be intentional about the courses and the training that you take, even in high school, to prepare yourself to go to that avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I appreciate that. Very detailed. Does anyone have any comments, concerns, feedback? Let's capture them now so that we're able to be more efficient in our planning and can, work off of accuracy. Any comments?
Yes, I wanted to ask a question of Mr. Lewis. May I ask it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Hudson.
Mr. Lewis, I know you're, that forum is being planned for, you said May 10th. Who is the target audience for that? I know it's not just the board members, the committee members that are going to be invited.
The target audience is as much people that are interested, not just in our community board, but throughout. So what we're gonna do once we get the invitation out to the folks, and we have a commitment from them, I'm gonna work out again, getting a flyer, again to push out, and we're gonna do what you call it again? We're gonna do like Facebook. We're gonna do try to do all of the media engagement, Instagram, everything. Keep advertising it, keep it in rotation, send it out to the different community boards, possibly send it out to the high schools, the middle schools. Engage as much people as we can to attend. And once we have done that, and we have it recorded too, so that it could replay back, which is most important, because not everybody is going to be able to attend.
Yes.
understandably. But
Okay.
once you have the Zoom recorded, you could always go back to it as a reference.
Yes.
So
That
that's
sounds.
so that's basically it. Everybody who has an ability to do something in construction, we want them there. Male, female, it doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
Old,
Wonderful.
young. When I say old, maybe I should say more mature people than from the
Experience.
younger folks. Everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Daly?
Okay. Yes. Can I also ask something? The target audience. Well, the people who you want to get interested, are they like members who have left school a number of years, like they could be in their 30s, that sort of thing? Are you looking for that, or do you just want very young people to train them or to get them engaged in the internship?
Well,
And
this
are
is
these
why
internships, do they have to pay for them, or?
no, this is again, this is where part of what's happening is getting the interest of people.
Uh-huh.
Once we have those numbers put together, now I could, or the board can, or with the guidance from the board, I could go to the specific politicians and request of them that, you know what, if you have money for this training, because the pre-apprenticeships are not free per se, they do get funded, right? And you do have that. But in the past couple of years, because of how volatile everything has been with COVID, there's less and less funding. So to create more and more seats, there has to be funding, which has to be actually allocated by either private or public entities. It all depends. So this is why you just want to push people and give them the understanding that this is here. A lot of people are not exposed to this. They don't know it exists. So this is just an introduction, really, to gain sort of how I could put it, participation. And then once we have a large enough group, now we could push it to the folks, because they're going to ask, okay, how many people you have, what is the cost, find out from this one what is cost. So this is why, again, and like the ages 14 to 40, because in actuality, in all of the construction trades, you could actually do 20 years and get a full pension and get a full medical. So that's why I say 40 to 60, right?
Okay.
Because most people, when you look at it now, especially with how the politics is going, retirement age is going to go to 70.
Okay. That's
So a
true.
lot of
Okay.
folks, this is what I am seeing now. So a lot of folks going to be able to transition into another career that will allow them, a better standard of living.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Lewis and Ms.
Thank you. That
Hudson.
sounds wonderful.
Okay. Mr. Daly? Where's your face? You're on mute.
I have a few questions, right? The Education and Youth Committee have several things planned on their agenda, right? Including the spelling bee, including the cops and kids. How does the timing of all of this work? Have the other programs been programmed out so that we know that it's not back to back, or it's not reflecting, it's not causing scheduling issues?
Yes. So the spelling bee is scheduled for February. So what we have right now, given Detective Barry's new role, we've had talks about doing the essay competition, but I'm not going to say it's 100% ready to go, because with those changes, there's still some legwork to be done. So I'm not holding that to the calendar. So we have the the spelling bee in February. The Cops and Kids, which is Miss Bakradine and Miss Ruddock.
Heard in the online work, the curse of knowledge, that you as the teacher, you know
I'm
the
sorry,
thing,
can you please mute the
model
background?
with it in different ways.
Thank you. I think they said March, the team forum, that would be in March. The forum is not going to be till May. So we've kind of spaced out things that are a little easier. And I think the cops and kids, I have to find out from Miss Backerdine and Miss Raddock if that's going to be like a Saturday thing, because it also depends on, you know, we're dealing with the 6-7 precinct and when the officers are available and the best date. So we're still up in the air with that. But so far, it's those 4 events that we have and space out reasonably enough. What's the other question, Mr. Chair?
Have there been a flyer created? Have information have those information have those things been disseminated to the community and the like? And did we also, Mr. Lewis, did we get confirmation on the panelists? Sorry, did we get confirmation on the panelists? So one, have marketing started on the agenda? And or do you plan to start the marketing after the other events? And 2, do we have confirmation? I mean, since it's so far away, May 10th, is that 7 months? Do we start getting confirmation from the panelists?
So Mr. Lewis is going to work on the panelists. This is, you know, as I think you weren't here when you didn't come on as yet when I said that. We had a conversation last week or week before. We are kind you know, he's doing a lot of heavy lifting on this, but I'm also assisting him. So what we're trying to do is get confirmation. He's going to start to work on getting confirmation from those panelists between now and at the beginning of the year. We will put out a flyer a little next year because I don't want it to be too far out that people forget and then it becomes like, for lack of a better word, stale, and you know it just falls between the cracks. But the planning process is starting now, and the first thing that Mr. Lewis is looking to do is to reach out to the panelists to confirm and secure them for those dates. And then everything, once we have some solidity on who the panelist was, a space also, then things will start to progress after that. Things then will, marketing will come out, and the agenda of what that night will looks like will start to unfold gradually then. But we're starting to move it. As I told him, like, I want to start this early because I don't want us come April and we're scrambling.
So to engage the panelists, an official letter from the committee board as
Yes.
an invitation has to be written so that they know it is something official. So that is something that me and Ms. Granison discuss. We will have to make contact with Ms. Fraser on the best way of going about doing that. And by January, you know, especially now where the holiday and everything is and how things going, you know, I don't want to not to bombard, but to ask anybody of any requests now. Once the new year start and we could get it out in the first couple of weeks of the new year, everybody, you know, fresh from off the vacation, everything like that. Maybe by the middle of January, I think is the best time to send it out so that the folks could give us a relative prediction, or at least yes, hopefully a yes to thing. And if not, I have backup people that I would get, but the main ones me and Miss Grandison spoke about, those are the ones that gonna get the first set of invites, and we wait for their response.
Excuse me.
Also, what we're trying to do is what I would love to see happen, because I hate the fact that, you know, all these things are happening, and we're not the only committee. There are other committees doing things, and the only person that we have to turn to in the board is Miss Frazier. And I really don't want to be that one bombarding her with a lot of extra stuff. So whatever we can do from our end, and I'm hoping that by January we should have an ADM hired and a temp in the office to take off some of this workload. Miss Duncan, I'm sorry, you were going to say something. Could you just introduce yourself, Miss Duncan?
I'll unmute. I apologize for me being late. I'm still at work, so I was about to switch to my camera, but I said, let me jump on for a second.
Are you at where are you exactly? Is that a school?
Yes.
Oh, is that the cafeteria?
This is.
You know what's going on in my head right now, right? When I see that space.
This where I'm on 7th Avenue in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So I did come on a little late, so I apologize if you have to get a quick not recap, but so the panel that you're discussing right now, who are you looking to be guest speakers on this panel?
All right, all of the folks that are specific masters or in specific part in the construction industry. In particular, I have one gentleman who is actually a site safety trainer, OSHA 500 certified site safety in New York City. He actually trained out of Eric Adams' office when he was Brooklyn Borough President. All right, so he is one of the participants. Another participant I have is a woman by the name of Ms. Beltran, who is actually Construction Skills Edward J. Malloy Director. That's the pre-apprenticeship programs to get into the union. I'm going to have the land use chair, Mr. Kwame Afre, who is an electrician like me. He's also a licensed electrician like myself. And he could discuss about, you know, just the experience of being in the electrical field on a whole, transition into that.
Okay, so this is not a panel. This is a career day, like.
It's not career day, because the reason for that, why I don't say it's a career day, a lot of the times people are not even exposed to know what the different parts of construction are. So you could have architects, you could have drafts people, you could have project management, you could have all these things, but people don't know the opportunities. So I wouldn't say it's a career day per se, because it's just an introduction to the construction field. CTE, getting young people to transition into CTE programs in their high school, picking high schools that have CTE programs that would allow them the channels to get into the pre-apprenticeship program. So I wouldn't say it's a career day in that manner.
Any other questions, Miss Duncan, before we move on?
No, not right now. I'll wait for the full minutes. I know I came on late, so I'm just gonna catch up.
All right, thank you. Any other concerns, comments from anyone else on the meeting? Okay, I want to go back to the spelling bee, and I'm going to ask the committee I'm going to call on you to be involved deeply in it, in the sense that for the spelling bee, I need judges, at least 3 judges. So if you think that's something, a part that you would like to play, let me know. I also am going to need like well, I call them chaperones, but for each age group, I usually have someone that sits with those that age group or that grade so that they kind of lead them in and direct them up on the stage, you know, when they spell the word and they come down. And if they're eliminated, where then they're transitioned to a different seating, and then those who are progressing. So I'm going to need some hands on deck that day. I don't even mind if you have young people that are willing to volunteer, you know, grandkids, kids, anything like that. If they're willing to help out, I would greatly accept them. Just let me know and I will start to put it all together. The other thing I wanted to mention, so we talked about the team forum, which is the cops and kids and everything. Okay, so I'm going to move on from what we have planned for the year. But earlier, Miss Hudson made a statement, and I know Miss Duncan have also, you know, we've had a couple of conversations when working on that needs statement about things that they've seen things happening and want to know whether the committee can put on certain events, right? Different things. I think there was an email that went out last week, something about classes. I did see that, Miss Duncan. So what we have is that sometimes there are different organizations that send information through to the board about various different events that are happening. This one, it was a college and career workshop series. And, you know, Miss Duncan has said to me, like, isn't this something that the education committee should be doing? And I do agree with you. Yes, it should be something that we should be doing or could do. I think there's a couple of things with the issue, right? We don't have enough people to do all of this stuff, especially when we're talking about a college and career fair like that. It takes a lot of planning and it's time consuming. I know that people have jobs and stuff, and I want to be mindful of that. They have families. But if you feel like there is a specific area that you think should be a staple for the committee, and you are willing to help spearhead that and to work on it from when we start, especially if it's something big like college and career sessions, right? These things are important to us in this committee. I am open to hearing and to working with you, especially if you're really serious on doing it. But I just feel like the more hands we have on deck, more things that we might be able to do. But then also let us think in terms of we only meet once a month, right? And planning might, for some events, like the CTE forum, I'm sure that, you know, me and Mr. Lewis are going to be going back and forth even when we're not meeting and stuff. But so sometimes planning is outside the scope of the meeting date. It's not always going to be the day that the committee has a meeting. It's going to be during, you know, the week where may have to get on calls or, you know, Zoom or something like that. But I am really open for us to do other things within reason, but I also want the hands, right? Miss Duncan, I saw your hand was up. You have a comment?
Yes, yes. So I know that we are building out the committees and different things like that. So another, besides us just doing an event of that caliber, I feel like that information shouldn't have went out to everyone without coming through our committee first. Like, it should have came through you. Then we could have figured out, okay, how can we partner with these people, with the people in our community, than just sending out a regular flyer blast and it ends nowhere? Because a lot of people think that, okay, if I just send out this email blast, that means people are getting the information. And that's not always,
Right,
we
that's
gotta
not
do more
always
than
true.
that. So for us, we're supposed to be building the relationship with the schools in our district, right? And then now we don't even have to be a part of the event, but we can make sure that the kids who are in our district or in our schools are able to attend an event like that.
Right.
But that just went out, and it should go through the school and education committee. Like, how can that just go out in a regular blast and we don't know what's going on? It doesn't matter who event it is. Like, we supposed to be,
Right. I hear what you're saying, but you do have to remember that information is going to come from various different nonprofits or, educational facilities outside of a DOE school or a college to the board, right? Because that's like the main platform. Like, if I send it to the community board will send it out. Usually what happens when things like this come, Ms. Frazier would send it to me, but I don't have the control to tell a organization, well, you shouldn't send it to the board itself, you should send it to us, or you shouldn't send it to anyone else, because it's so widespread where the information is coming from. What I think that we can do is, and I've been doing, is when I get certain information, I forward it off. Sometimes I would say, Ms. Frazier, can you please share this with the entire board? Because sometimes it may not always be something that she shared to the entire board, depending on the uniqueness of the marketing, whatever the event is, she was shared to the individual committees. So I may say, you know what, maybe this is something that the entire board should see. There are things that I've sent to the schools, right, to get it out there. But something like that, now that we have a marketing, a communications purpose, we're also looking, I need to have a conversation with Tamara, which I haven't had as yet. And around us, there's a newsletter that she's trying to put together. And this is kind of leading into the next thing I wanted to briefly touch on and just get some feedback, but discuss in the next meeting more in depth. Marketing the Education and Youth Committee, right? So if once she creates that newsletter, things like this, as it comes in, this is information that we can share out, because then there's a listserv that she have with people in the community, not just the board, but people in the community. And I think this is when we have meetings where we have clipboards and we take everyone's name and stuff. Ms. Frazier has a listserv of different individuals in the committees, organizations, elected officials, a whole host of people. I think it's maybe 1,000 names or something like that. Might be more. I might be off. But things like this, then we would be sending it out we'll be spreading the word. And, we don't have enough people on the committee to say, let's go meet every organization so that they know who we are. But that is what I would love to attain when I talk about marketing us, that we are known. So something for the members to think about, which I wanted to really get into, how do we market the Education Youth Committee that we are visible not only to people in our community, nonprofits, churches, because this flyer is from the First Baptist Church of Crown Heights, but maybe other organizations. I want to go out of the board, out of our boundaries, right? Because I think that wherever there's opportunities that we can give our young people, it does not have to just be in the community. It could be outside of the community to get those experiences and opportunities. So how can we then get that recognition that, hey, we're having something that deals with kids? Yeah, let's contact the Education Youth Committee. Sounds feasible, like a marketing plan? And Ms. Duncan, I am open to you if there, you know, you want to sit down and work with me of how we can figure out a marketing, let's call it an extensive Brooklyn marketing plan. I am there with you.
The best way to market, off the top of my head, is one, we have to know the schools in our district and connect with each parent coordinator.
Right. So I have those lists.
I don't have that list. I don't know if how we get that list, or if you have it already.
I have that information, but I'm saying let's come up with a plan of how we can move forward with this. Also think of the kind of materials. What is it exactly we want to do? I don't want that we just say, oh, well, yeah, let's send this and that to the schools and the principals and what's not. Let's really think what it is that we're sending, how the information then is disseminated within the schools, and how relevant is it to their communities to getting people out. So that could be something that we brainstorm about. I am open to it because that, as I said, that was going to be my next topic to hit on, how we can market the Education Youth Committee. So what I was also thinking is
that will have to come with Ms. Brandon said. I think I need to really understand I guess our mission also as this committee, because I feel like we can't just send things out if we don't know the needs of the schools. I think that's what we'll be able to support them with more once we know what their actual needs and stuff are.
Correct. So you know what? Let's have a discussion offline about this, because right now it's 8:32. I like your thinking. It's kind of aligning with some of the thoughts that I have, and interesting. And I would love, if there's anyone else on here tonight that would love to join us, please let me know. One of the other things also, remember, we have this beautiful website, a beautiful website that I want us, what I would like to do every month is to have on the website the link to our meetings that people, you know, can freely join if they want to stop in. Although we would love to have them as committed members, but you know, if people want to stop in tonight or discuss something that's happening or bring information to us, that it's on the website. And I also would like our minutes to be posted on there because they're all public. So if that, if that is something that can be done, then, you know, I want to work towards that. But if there's anyone on the call tonight that, you know, want to work through that marketing with us, please reach out to me. Ms. Duncan, I am going to share with you once we get off the strategic plan that every year I create a strategic plan of how I want the committee to grow and develop and what our mission is. So I will share that with you, and we can build from that. Okay.
Copy.
Thank you. So the other thing I just want to mention quickly is that moving forward, we're now into November, and we're taking attendance very seriously. Okay. After next month meeting, we will start removing names, and this is something that the chair and the first vice chair or the second vice chair that we have talked about, and they're seriously want us to keep a very watchful eye on attendance. you know, as some of the other committees have to approve, you know, certain requests that comes through from the community, and not having quorum, you know, we haven't resolved that yet. It's still an issue, but I think our biggest issue is that we need to make sure that our minutes are approved every year, every month, especially if I want to put them on the website for people to see and to read and to see what we're doing. So from next month, there's a letter that will more than likely go out this month for those who have not attended a meeting since September. And we will be, so the way I do this is that I ask, right? I don't know what's going on with people, so I ask before I act. And we're asking people, you know, we noticed that you've missed 3 consecutive meetings. Our next step is to remove you. If you're still interested in being on the committee, please reach out, let us know, and we will not remove your names, but we would, you know, there's an expectation that we will see you at the next meeting. So that is happening. It really is happening. And I think we don't have a choice but to take that path if we want to move the community forward. Okay. So those are the things that I have for tonight. Does anyone have any questions?
So, Ms. Granderson, not a question, but just some statement. PS 235. From last week there was a meeting in terms of they are trying to get a new principal for the middle school. PS 235 has, you know, they have 1 principal and about 5 assistant principals.
Oh wow.
Over 3 different campuses. Let me say it like that then. Campuses or school buildings, right? So what has happened right before the pandemic, when the other superintendent was here, I forgot her name. They started looking at it, and there was a consensus to do it, but then the pandemic came and they stopped. So now they actually had a meeting last week to try to push for the new school semester that's going to come up in September, to have a new parent coordinator and a full-time principal for that school.
For 2024, for school year 2024?
Yeah, 2023, 2024. Yes.
Okay.
So I told them, well, you know, I'm a part of Community Board 17 Education and Committee and so forth. And, you know, whatever help we can give to help get this completed and done, you know, please reach out. So they took down my email. I'm waiting for a response. Once I get that, I will deliver that to you, as well as Ms. Fraser, as well as the chair, you know, because, you know, 235, I actually graduated from 235. My sister, my cousin, my nephew, my daughter goes there. So I believe in, you know, really supporting that school. I have a bias towards the school there, if you want to see.
Okay.
So I have a bias for that school. So whatever engagement, and because that school has, sorry about that.
So before Mr. Lewis comes back, that kind of advocacy right there is what we need. That's the kind of advocacy that we need. You know, I'm not able to go to schools every day. I work hybrid. If there's something happening a Thursday or Friday, those are the 2 days that I work from home.
Right.
I am, you know, I can, you know, sneak out if it's during the day, but I can get out even if it's the evening or what, to go to talk, to go to a meeting or something like that. The thing is, Mondays to Wednesday, I'm in the office.
Okay.
And then get into Brooklyn, it's a bit late. I get up here maybe by 6:30.
Right.
Usually. But I am open that if there's, you know, you need me to attend something or to do something or what, and I'm available to do it, I will. I even don't even have a hang up about if it's a weekend. Let's say the school is having an event on the weekend, a
Right.
Saturday or so,
Mm,
I'll go. You know, I will make an effort to go. So the kind of advocacy that you're doing is what we
right.
need. And, you know, I implore anyone else in the committee, you know, even if it's in the it's your granddaughter, daughter, son, kids, you know, nephew, niece in their school, and you think like, hey, you know what, we should get involved in this, just let me know. You
Yeah.
know,
Miss
So
Miss
what
Grant
happened?
is
It was.
oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. Miss Graham?
there is this project. Well, it's more than a project on the table for the asylum seekers. I know in 17 we are getting them coats, hats, gloves, and all of those things for because
Okay.
these are the new kids. So I don't know how many of them are in 235, but I know they're scattered in our district.
Yes. You weren't on the call last month, but Councilwoman Farr Lewis,
Mm-hmm.
Danny from her office was on, and you know, he was
Oh,
talking about
I
them.
was there. I was there. Yeah, with
Okay.
Daniel. Yes.
Okay, right. So I've been trying to get some information out of him about where the asylum seekers are within our schools.
Well,
But it
most of
wasn't
them are
forthcoming.
in the schools where that have shelters because they are living in the shelters.
Right. So you know what, Miss Grant, if that's something that you can,
I could reach out to Celeste
oh, okay. Oh, because Celeste and yeah, Celeste is yours. Miss Bove is 18. So maybe,
because the mayor also has this open arms project. And today I was on a meeting, and so I think 17 and 18 are teaming together.
okay. So listen, if it's something that we can join, so they're giving out what, gloves and coats and stuff like
Gloves,
that.
hats, coats, everything, blanket, food, everything.
So they're
So
just
they have nothing. The kids have nothing.
right. So then, you know, maybe what I will do is do a request to the board if they can drop off food stuff or new
Mm-hmm.
or slightly used winter gear for kids. At the board, maybe start like a bin. Excuse me.
We have reached out to Brian Cunningham. He offered to use his place as a drop off location.
Okay, so if we could do something like that at the board, you
Yeah.
know, and do an ask to the board members and maybe even put up a flyer. I know, you know, at my job, they're currently doing that. Well, it's something they do every year, but I would be willing, you know, to work in that manner, to partner. You know, one of my things
Mm-hmm.
is about partnering because, as I keep saying, we can't do everything ourselves. We can't do everything because we're limited in quantity. But if we can partner with other people, organizations, whatever, in any way, and that sounds like something that is so simple that we
Mm-hmm.
all that we can do it, right? It doesn't require heavy lifting. It just requires an ask. So maybe I'll get working on that and try to get something
And
out.
today, the young lady had said, we had a meeting today. She said they were providing 16,000 coats. I
Wow.
think it's coming through New York Cares or some because they wanted to give them new coats.
Mm, I like
Because they said because of, COVID, they mentioned bed bugs and all kind of stuff. They
yeah.
were really focusing on new coats
You
for them.
know, you know what I would like also, and maybe it is in here. Um, a list of all the shelters in our community. Miss Frazier, is that something that we have updated, or is it
We have one shelter
only one?
Yeah.
that's,
One?
yes, that's identified as a shelter. That's the
Oh,
one
wow.
until then.
No, they
Oh,
have
that
Albemarle
one.
too. They have Albemarle, right? And it's one until then, one on Albemarle.
But
the
is
album,
it's a city shelter? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
what,
where our kids come from.
that's where your kids come from? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Albemarle until then.
what kind of shelter is that?
A regular shelter. They
Are,
on
are,
the opposite
are
sides
we
of the
talking
street.
about the
One
same
until then, one
shelter?
on.
I think
I'm
we're
sorry.
talking about the
What?
same shelter.
I think so. I think you are.
It's the same one. That's it. That's
Yeah.
the only one.
No. We have two. We have two. That's our feeder. That's where we get our kids from.
So what's the other one?
Tilden and Albemarle. One's called Tilden and one is called Albemarle Shelter. So Albemarle Shelter is on Albemarle right across from 246. And Tilden is on Tilden.
Miss Miss Graham, I'm sorry. How many kids do you asylum seekers are in your school?
25.
25. Okay.
So
Okay. So we only have one shelter that we know of. Does anyone know if there's any others, like maybe a
You have to, you should reach out to Pastor Monroe's.
They're
Remember
not
in the
shelters.
homes?
no,
They're
we
not.
have two standing shelters, Miss Frazier.
No, no,
I've been
no.
in that
No,
school.
she asked if there's any other, but I'm saying the location that I'm about to give her is not slated as a shelter. It's where they're
You know
housing.
what? Some of them are scatter sites, some of them are double up, but they still classify them as STH.
So we were notified of, I think, either 45 or 60 families at Winthrop and Utica Avenue in the hotel. So I'm just saying it's not classified as a shelter, but
Right,
they're
right,
housing them there.
right. Housing.
Right. So
Either
that's a location in our community.
yeah. So they're either STH,
Because they can be STH and not living in a shelter.
shelter. Right.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, so let's work on that, Miss Graham. Let's see what we can do and we can get
Okay.
from the community in that. But these are the kind of advocacy things that I really like, to do and for us to do. That doesn't require 6 months of planning and, having to do heavy lifting. So that's fine. Okay, so let's move on. It's 8:48. I'm respectful and mindful of your time. Let's move. Is there any new business, anything new that anyone wants to bring to the committee? Okay, hearing that.
Ask another question. Sorry
Yes,
about
Ms.
that.
Hudson.
I think I missed the date for the spelling bee. Did we say did you mention a date,
No,
Ms.
I
Anderson?
did not give a specific date. I said the week of it's President's Week when the kids
Okay,
are
the week of the spring break.
yes,
that
of the
week.
winter
Okay.
recess. Once
right,
Ms.
then.
Frazier is able to confirm
Uh-huh.
the date within that week with SUNY Downstate, then I will make it known to everyone.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Wait, I'm sorry. We having the spelling bee the week of winter break?
Yes.
How can I object?
I'm sorry.
How do I object?
Well, I mean, you can say. So why do you feel that that's not a good time?
It's with a lot of people are away. I know I'm specific. I'm going to be away with my kids.
So here's the issue that we've been facing, and I don't want to prolong this too much, right?
Yeah.
We've always done this event on a Saturday, which means it has not been equitable to groups in the community, right? So Jewish, 7 Days Adventists, and any other group who takes the Sabbath sacred. We were trying to avoid that, and last month we had a conversation with the committee around what would be the most equitable time that we can have the spelling bee that everyone would be able to attend. And that was the time frame that they came up with. That's how we reach that.
That's fine with me with majority rules, but I mean, it's why can't it happen during the week or of Thursday evening or
Because
Friday evening during the school week?
No, it cannot happen on a school day because the spelling bee goes on for a few hours and kids have to go to school the next day. And there's just a lot that happens. They don't come out of school till 3 o'clock. And it's just too much to do during the weekday. That's why we've never done it. It is really, and the thing is, it depends on the amount of kids we have. We're not talking about 5 or 10 kids that just, will attend this. I think the last time we did it, there were, I don't want to lie, we had about 5 or 6 schools, but there were about maybe 30, 35 students, and we started at 2 o'clock that afternoon, and we didn't finish till after 6 because our kids are smart. They're so smart. And we had like the words that we had the original list, then we had another supplemental list, and then we had another supplemental list, and we went into that third list with some of the kids. So it does consume a good amount of time. So a weekday for school is just a bit too much. So we didn't want to push this. That's why we never did it weekday. So that was the consensus of the committee around that time frame. Okay, so there's no new business, any old business? I don't think, nothing from my end, anything from you guys? Okay, hearing nothing. It's 8:52 p.m., 8:53 actually. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Ann Hudson.
Can I get a second?
Second,
Name?
Ozzy Lewis, board member, committee member. Second.
Thank you. So it's 8:53 p.m. and the meeting of the Education Youth Committee has officially ended. I want to thank everyone for taking the time out to come out to this meeting. I am always here if there's anything after this meeting that you would like clarify or to ask me or to suggest. You can shoot me an email. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I am bidding you good night and enjoy the rest of the night with your loved ones and families. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Rudy, are you there?
Miss Grandison.
Hold on.
Oops.
Yes, go ahead.
My printer is making some noise here. I meant to talk to you about the minutes. I'm going to do the minutes and have them ready for you for your next meeting.
Okay, that's cool. I listen, I understand what's happening.
Yeah,
So
next meeting, I'll have it ready for you.
yeah,
Both
I'm
sets of
not,
minutes, tonight and last week and last month.
yeah, I know what's happening, so I'm
I
not.
think Rudy fell asleep.
He probably did, but he should see that the time is 8:54.
Oops. All right, let me go because it's recording.
Goodbye.
Good
Oh,
night, Rudy.
Good night, Rudy.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
Have a good night. Get some rest.
Yes, you guys too. I appreciate
All
you
right.
all.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.